The growth of technology might have just helped a cold case. Modern technology has solved the 1974 murder case of Carla Walker. It has also helped bring the murderer to justice. Nobody is happier than the family at this point, but what really happened? Carla was only 17 when Glenn McCurley kidnapped, raped, and strangled her. This was in 1974, and since then, her family has always waited for the day they would find answers or the criminal would be brought to justice. The case had been cold for decades, and there was nothing to work on for the detectives. But with modern DNA technology, McCurley was convicted and charged. He eventually pleaded guilty to the capital murder of Carla and was sentenced to life in prison. All this happened between July and August of 2022. During McCurley's trial, McCoy, who was Carla's boyfriend at the time, was the first witness to testify. During his testimony, he described how Carla always made him smile and how the two started dating in high school. He also told the courtroom in detail about his last seconds with his girlfriend, who was kidnapped in front of him. It was February 16, 1974, and McCoy and Carla had attended the Western Hills High School Valentine's Day dance. This night was supposed to be sweet for the two teenagers, but it was one of the worst for McCoy. Carla was in a powder blue dress and had the flowered corsage that McCoy had pinned to the fabric. After the dance, the two parked in the Ridgelia Bowl parking lot so Carla could use the bathroom. And so, while still in McCoy's 1969 LTV, the two started kissing. Carla leaned against the passenger side door with her purse behind her head, and McCoy leaned over her. But as they shared an intimate moment, the passenger door yanked open. McCurley was on the other side of the door, and as McCoy and Carla fell from the car, McCurley pistol-whipped McCoy with a .22 Ruger pistol. Even though McCoy had blood running down his face, he knew Carla was not in the seat next to him. McCurley pointed the gun at McCoy and pulled the trigger 3 times. However, the gun didn't go off. Nevertheless, McCoy lost consciousness as he watched the abductor pull Carla away. A search was launched, but Carla's body was not found until 3 days later. It was in a culvert near Benbrook Lake, and from the looks of it, she had been raped, beaten, and strangled. At the time when the investigation was being launched, some DNA was found on Carla's clothing, but when the investigators ran it through the database, there was no match. More than 4 decades later, on September 21, 2020, some investigators narrowed in on Glenn McCurley, who was 77 years old, a retired truck driver, maintenance worker, and ex-convict. His DNA matched that on Carla's clothes from all those years ago, and he was arrested. Othram came up with a complete DNA profile of a potential suspect for the first time, and with this information, the detectives narrowed the list of suspects to 3 brothers with McCurley as their last name. It was later discovered that a McCurley had been mentioned in the case file from the initial investigation of Carla Walker's death. In 1974, Glenn McCurley was a person of interest after a .22 Ruger magazine was found in the parking lot where the victim was kidnapped, and when it was investigated, it matched a gun he owned. 2 months after the kidnapping and killing, McCurley was interrogated, and it was at this time he claimed his .22 Ruger was stolen about 6 weeks before the incident. When asked why he didn't report it, he claimed it was because he was an ex-convict and it would have caused him problems. In July 2020, investigators collected trash from a bin outside his house without his knowledge and sent it for testing, and about a month later, the DNA from the trash matched the one on Carla's clothes. He was then arrested in the same month and charged with capital murder. When he was arraigned in court, he initially pleaded not guilty and maintained his innocence. However, on the 3rd day of his trial in 2021, he pleaded guilty, and without wasting time, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that is how a case that had been open for 4 decades was finally closed, giving the family some closure. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.